receding hairline and political aspirations,
Yeah.
not inspirations.
Starts out as inspiration, turns into a lot of pressure.
Respiration.
No, I just need a little, it's time for a break.
Yeah. He needs a
Need some energy.
Yeah.
Don't think the first person I looked at when I looked across, when I sat in the
Do we know
council
if
seat, was
Amanda's
Deborah
gonna get
Connors.
stuck at the house?
Okay.
She was going to, they were going to be there.
Man, you're a history story yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw
how
last
we
night,
doing?
she didn't get out
I mean,
till
your
11.
picture starts over here somewhere.
Yeah.
Fully
Oh, yeah,
expected that.
97.
Alright.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
me,
Brent.
Abby Vanny and,
You have everything for the
Deborah
comments you
Connors.
guys
I do,
ready to go?
yes, everything's on, I put
oh
things
God,
on.
I can't even,
early.
Yvonne Young.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and get started. It sounds like Councilor Cullimore is going to be stuck at the State House late this evening, so if she's able to join us later, that will be great, but we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Pittsfield Town Council meeting Tuesday, June 15th, 2021. We're in the Pittsfield Municipal Building Council Chambers, as well as on Zoom and Town Hall streams. And if everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is seating council member elected in June 21 special election, taking the oath of office, seated for councilor at large, Michael Tincha.
So we'll have Michael come up front and swear him in. And he can take his seat, and I'm also going to see if this is going to work now, because we've got some people on here. Oh, very good. So you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Michael H. Encat,
I, Michael H. Enquette,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws of the United States
and will obey the laws of the United States
and of the state of
and
Maine,
of the state of Maine,
that I will in all respects observe
that I will in all respects observe
the provisions of the charter and
the
ordinances
provisions of the charters and ordinances
of the town of
of the
Pittsfield,
town of Pittsfield,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Counselor at Large
of the office of Counselor at Large
through December 31st, 2021,
through December 31st, 2021,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of the state, so help me God.
and laws of the state, so help me God.
Congratulations. We'll have
All
you
right.
seated.
Thank you.
We'll have you sign the paperwork. And you're all set to go.
All right.
Welcome back, Councilor Tincha.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Did you get the chair? I wanted you to check it.
Oh, everybody
You
moved
go.
it over there.
I get the bench from that one.
All right. See all the whistle.
Alright. Next item on the agenda this evening is adoption of minutes of the regular meeting held on June 1st, 2021. I'll look for a motion from the council.
Move we adopt the minutes as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Any changes, items of discussion, deletions to those minutes, Counselor? Okay, not hearing any. All those in favor of adopting the minutes as presented for the meeting held on June 1st, 2021, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Presentations, congratulations, and introductions. Catherine, community and economic development activities.
Yes, I'll be brief. For community and economic development activities, we have a number of items that are listed. talking about the Main Street project, the Main DOT's rehabilitation in the town sidewalk, as well as all the grants that we have for the sidewalk, the airport taxiway and airport camera grants, and the update on the funding, which has been exciting, and some other grant opportunities. So I had gone through a huge history last meeting, and so I'll be brief this time and just talk about the updates only. So on June 7th, the Maine DOT advised that they are now running 2 months behind the schedule that we were presented at the beginning of the year. The project is a large one, being rehabilitation of a section of Main Street and regular paving for the remainder of the roadway. The project starts at the Pittsfield Detroit line and extends down to Nichols Street. Now, at the meeting with the Maine DOT officials last week, I did learn that several of the Maine DOT staff did inquire, and they asked if the road could have the skidding mixture filled. Several of them asked that that be done last year and this year. They did not receive an answer from the Maine DOT office, and eventually they were told there just isn't any funding available. So I did want to let you know that the project manager and some of the other people that we work with on a regular basis have tried to get some skidding mixture on the road to help us, because it has seriously deteriorated and is becoming eyesore. The project manager has our conceptual plan for the sidewalk, and we're waiting for the comments. The Maine DOT has a process in which the plans aren't reviewed all of the meeting with all the department heads. It goes from one office to the other, and then comments are made, and then changes are made. Then it goes to the next office and so forth. So our official plan for the sidewalk was filed on time. The Maine DOT has its conceptual plan ready, and they're sending it around. Ours will be a supplement. There is to be an online presentation by Maine DOT that will be advertised to the public, and we will advertise it too, to assist people. In fact, we could add in a rolling thunder if we have enough time once we're notified. This is basically about the Main Street Road project that is Maine DOT going to be doing next summer, 2022. However, the town is tagging along because we have a small project, which to us is a large project, our sidewalk. Late last week, we were notified that the amendment for the CDGB Business Assistance Grant is coming through, and I have received that. So we have another year added on to our grant, so our grant monies are fine. The package of materials and the commitment letter from the Maine DOT were very helpful. I was advised, though, that we may need to transfer the funds to Maine DOT in order to keep them in the future. And so I advise that we cannot do this at this time. We would need legal review of the town charter. We would need the review of the town auditor. And we would also need to see what the plans were for the road, so that we would know what they're doing on the sidewalk and what the plans would be if they did take over the sidewalk project. So at this point, we're all set for a year again, but we may need to transfer the money over if the DOT's project keeps getting delayed, because the CDGB program has deadlines to have the projects done for the federal government. But at this point, all the jobs have been created, we've done all our paperwork, we've sent everything in, but we have to go with the Maine DOT, because as we were told, we can't just put the sidewalk down. If we don't do it right, they'll make us dig it up, and that would be a true misuse of public funds. The last week of June, there's going to be a field trip down Main Street, starting at the library, down to the back entrance of the industrial park. Maine DOT will be sending several officials, and we're going to determine the locations for the tree plantings. So, as you remember, we have 2 Project Canopy grants, 30 trees that need to be purchased, and projects need to be set up with students. And so, as the civil emergency comes to an end, and we set up a schedule in the fall and have the trees planted, it's actually the best time. We may be able to get into the curriculum, and if not, we may have a class of students that can go down. DOT will determine where the trees can be placed, and this is because there are so many underground items, there's so many overhead items. It's just only going to be certain locations where we can put the trees, because as we remember, the trees are going in now, and the road's not going to be dug up till next year, and all the ditching and everything. So at least this was good that they've agreed to help us. The project canopy is all set with the trees being planted in the fall. It's actually better. And I expect when we go on that walk with the Maine DOT employees and officials and the landscape architect that's going to be going with us, they're going to be really surprised by the noise from the road and how difficult it is to get over it and everything. So this may be helpful in showing them that we need pavement to get by for another year here. So that may work out to our advantage. On to the airport taxiway and airport hangar grants. We have a project that now is listed as $1,307,727. And I'm happy to say that we have applied $65,386 of COVID funding. So this will be funding that will go toward a project which we do not have to raise through tax dollars or taking money out of our reserve account. So our town commitment will be a bit lower. At this point, the project stands at $825,000 federal, and I'm rounding that out. The town's $131,000, which has $65,386 of COVID funds. So basically, it's less, about half of what the figure is, but that's the way that they put the grant together. And the state has $347,900, which is their commitment plus the additional $247,000 that came through at the last minute from the state after we wrote a letter stating we really needed the airport hangar. So we were very fortunate to get that. So at this point, they are taking our grant application seriously, and we're doing quite well. So we'll keep on going here. We have a whole variety of other little grants. I'm going to mention the American Rescue Plan. This plan is the federal government stimulus money plan that has a lot of money in it. It's nearing finalization. The plan provides funding to towns across the nation to assist with the additional costs that we've incurred due to COVID-19. Of course, we've incurred those costs in the past, and now, we're getting out of it. But it is to replace revenue that was lost, if there was any, to assist with recovery. And assisting with recovery includes water and sewer rehabilitation, so I thought that was good. It also includes broadband. So I've looked at the requirements that I've seen so far. The funds cannot be spent on roads and paving, which would have been good, but those are excluded. The funds have to be spent in full by December 31st, 2024 on approved items. The approved period to start the reimbursement, if there's been costs, is March 4th, 2021. So the whole period of time for the rescue plan funding is from March 4th, 2021 this year through December 31st, 2024. Our allocation estimate has been a number of different figures over the last few months, but it appears to be around $411,000. So once I learn more information, I will let you know. Our funding will come through the state, so who knows what will happen there. It could take a while, it could be a different figure. For business projects, we'd like to congratulate Copper on their move to the commercial spot next to Stan's Barbershop. That's an excellent spot for them, and they're very happy there and great for their customers. Nate Bisson has acquired the old credit union building that sits directly across from Fenway Park. It's a very nice building, has a great location. We will add it to our private sector economic development opportunity listing on the town website, and hopefully it'll help them get some hits. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Public hearings this evening, we do not have any listed. Reports, council committees, finance committee has a meeting on the 22nd. That's our next meeting. Ordinance committee is on pause because there's many items at the planning board. It may come back to us. And then recycling committee has a meeting coming up, or did you already?
Tomorrow night at 5:30 will be the first one, and we're going to discuss tree planting and the composting plan, but the primary thing will be the reuse center and what we're looking at going forward, because there's a lot to that. We're going to have the person that was basically running it has passed away, unfortunately, and looking at I had spoken with Donnie about his idea was somewhere around mid-July, providing everything is moving ahead the way, with COVID as it should, where we could possibly look at starting to open that up without having to spray everything down and just have it be a big fiasco, so, we'll be discussing that. It's just in the block, the building block stage, we're gonna start all over, because right now, we don't have anybody to run that, but all that stuff will be discussed tomorrow night, and that'll be at 5:30.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Board and committee updates by, town councilors and mayor, manager. I don't know any town councilors that have any, so Catherine, do you have anything else?
Yes, the Parks and Recreation Committee is talking about a meeting, but they're so busy with all the activities that they've chosen to wisely work on all of their games and everything that's scheduled, as well as some work that they're doing on the summer camp and all of the summer programs. So it looks quite impressive. So I'll announce when their meeting is coming up. And we also have, although it's not one of the boards and committees of the town, but the Pittsburgh Economic Expansion Corporation will be meeting this Friday. There's a long list of agenda items.
The only thing I would add to that would be the summer concert series. Coming up July 1st is the first concert. I believe it's the Allison Ames Band coming back to kick things off. And we did have, I had a conversation with Jan Lux about the Bicentennial Committee and the fact that there's still interest in having some activities happening in June, but we need another committee to be formed to set those types of things up as like a Pittsfield Celebration Day. I don't know if we can put that on our agenda for next time. Do we have to actually have a resolution to form another committee like the Bicentennial?
Yes, that would be good, because we did that with the Bicentennial.
Okay. So if we can put that on the agenda for next time, and then we'll start planning for 2022.
Sure.
Town manager's report?
All right, very good. I sent out the town manager's report this morning. I'm not going to read through the entire thing because it is very long. I have some handouts with it. Before I present the regular town manager's report, I would like to take a moment to apologize to the 4 individuals who waited to enter the polls last Tuesday. A town employee secured the building and left a few minutes after 5 o'clock. As this was something that the town clerk and I would never think would happen and hadn't seen before, Nicole, with her 16 years of experience and my nearly 40 years as a town manager, we were a little bit shocked that somebody would, lock the door up and leave. As usual, when the school vote takes place and there's not a state referendum, there is a low voter count. In reviewing the situation, we had a witness who was setting out in the parking lot who accounted for the period until 5:16 p.m., advising that no one came to vote. An individual who arrives each workday at 5:30 p.m. was a few minutes late and found 4 voters outside. She went downstairs, got the town clerk, and the door was opened up. The citizens came in and voted. The town clerk asked some questions to figure out what had happened and issued an apology. The ballot clerks who were working the polls apologized to everyone. As they knew 2 of the voters, I called them and inquired about the incident and apologized on behalf of the town. I did learn that during the time that the voters were outside, no one else came by and left or joined them. The town clerk will be issuing another list of directions regarding the day of the polling. She will secure the device that locked the doors. There will be additional training as a correction for this incident. The employee who did this will not be identified. However, she just was not thinking and was extremely sorry for the error. Both the town clerk and I apologize on behalf of the town. If the 2 people I have not been able to talk to would like to call up or come to the town office or meet me at some location, I will issue a formal apology on behalf of the town and speak to them. Thank you. So going on to the town manager's report for 6/15/2021, it is important. We've got a couple of announcements that deal with the roads and possible delays. Number 1, North Main Street Bridge is going to be 1 lane with traffic signals. Beginning the afternoon of Monday, June 14th, 2021, the bridge on North Main Street between Puritan and InSource Renewables, it will be 1 lane while construction is being completed. The estimated completion time is approximately 6 weeks. This was increased from when the Maine DOT showed up to the town office at noon and said it was 4 weeks. So basically they think it will be 6 weeks now. For questions, please contact Maine DOT 941-4500. Number 2, railroad improvements. Shortly, the Maine DOT and the railroad will be making at-grade highway crossing improvements and/or signal improvements. These will be taking place in Pittsfield on the Industrial Park Road at the railroad crossing and at Route 69 Detroit Avenue at the railroad crossing. When we know more information, we will post that on the town website. Recreation abounds in Pittsfield. Our new summer camp. Come and join us for the first ever summer camp. There will be 2 different weeks offered, each with fun activities. Space is limited, so sign up fast. July 26th through July 30th. A snapshot of this week includes fishing adventures in the Sebastopol, Mr. Drew and his animal show for an afternoon of fun, baby goat yoga, field days, painting, ice cream truck, and much more. The children will also get to enjoy the Pittsfield Town Pool and will hop in and join some of the recreation sports. August 2nd through August 6th is the second camp. A snapshot of this week includes adventures in disc golf, an amazing magic show, a workshop to learn your own tricks, baby goat yoga, ice cream, having a blast with Woody's Ninja Warriors. You will be using the Pittsfield Town Pool and the children will have access to join the other recreation sports and much more. A note is that if children are already signed up for a recreational sport or activities, you'll get a $5 discount. The child may also still be able to attend the recreation sports and then come back to the camp. So you can go back and forth between the recreation activities that you're involved with and the camp if you wish to do so. Depending on the age, the child may need to do a sport though. There are some fees set up with this. MSAD 53 residents have $100 per week. There's family discounts, and then per week for non-residents is $125, and again, family discounts. We also have, with a due date coming up of Friday, June 18th, a reminder on our 2021 summer program registration. Option 1 through 7, and these are lacrosse, field hockey, cheering, basketball, arts and crafts, soccer, tennis. Is $20 per resident, $25 for non-resident. These are all 5-week sessions. Option 8 is swimming lessons, and per session is $40 per resident and $35 for non-resident. Swimming lesson daily plan per session, 3 or more, has a fee for your family of $80 for residents and $95 for non-residents for that 4-week session. Option 9 is golf, $25 for a 5-week session. There are scholarships available for families in need of assistance, and people should contact the recreation director or town office for more information. This is confidential. Number 6, summer Husky ball football. Again this year, Coach Moore will hold this summer football camp. This includes 4 days of instruction and games, championship rings and medals for all. The camp is for boys and girls ages 4 to 13 on Tuesday through Friday of the week of July 20th through 23rd. From 9 a.m. to 11 o'clock a.m. at Manson Park. The cost is $100 with checks payable to Woody Moore. He is running the program himself. The deadline for signing up is Friday, June 18, 2021. The agenda will be an explanation of the day, dynamic stretch, skill of the day, demonstration, and practice Husky Ball Round 1, snack and life skills, and Husky Ball Round 2. For updated and or continuing items, I'll just skim through these. Planning board meeting held on June 14th, that was last evening, addressed many applications. We had the site plan review application completion for the construction of a shooting range by Nathan Picard on Main Street, tax map 4, lot 24. So this is out by the Bonnie Chinquette Road. And after a demonstration that the planning board members went to, additional sessions and everything, this was approved. There was a site plan review application for a new hangar improvement project by Northeast Sky Wagon, working with Curtis Air. That was approved. A site plan review application for Fenway Park for the hand-carry boat launch by the town of Pittsfield at Fenway Park, represented by William A. Cunningham. That passed. And then the site plan approval request for Pittsfield Solar One LLC, and this is for the project down on what used to be called South Main Street on Jock LaSalle's old property. This is for a 4.95 megawatt alternating current ground mounted solar array by Centerpark Solar that was previously approved in July of 2020, and you can ask for an extension before your permit runs out, and they did do so when they were approved for a year. So there are other site plan applications coming in. We know we have HEP Energy Solar Array, and that was a bit complicated. We'll have the town of Pittsfield's airport hangar. Several more inquiries have been made. Our building inspector, who is attempting to retire, continues to review our work. Our assistant building inspector, Al Tempester, is doing a super job. He handles building and plumbing permits. The Kennebec Valley Council of Governments Planning Director reviews the site plan applications. The staff and I organize all the planning board meetings, assist the applicants, and get everything in order. We have had the most site plan review applications underway at the same time in the last 2 decades. So that's been quite an experience here, especially without a building inspector to manage them. But we have streamlined the process. I think that we've assisted the applicants, so we made this a lot easier to do. So that's great. Number 7 is the community center project. And as reported at the last meeting, retired Colonel Michael Wiley continues to meet with companies and other entities in town about the need for a community center. This concept is being discussed, and it's not just for a traditional community center, but for one that would have a teen center, senior citizens, arts, medical, theater for ballet. He had all kinds of other ideas, financial, other events and functions. So it will be multi-use in the broadest sense. The concept is gaining momentum. Number 8, the summer concert series. We're definitely on the countdown to that. And to see the lineup of the amazing talent coming to town on Thursday evenings at Hawthorne Park. This starts July 1, as noted earlier, from 6 to 8 p.m. You can go to Facebook, type in Summer Concert Series Pittsfield, Maine, or go to the town's website at www.pittsfield.org and click on the announcement on the right side of the town's homepage. We've received a concert series handout from the talented Barbara De Niro Hansen. It's definitely a nifty handout to download to keep track of the concert series. The cheese is coming. The Maine Cheese Festival will hold its annual showcase of the best artisan cheeses made in Maine at Manson Park on Sunday, September 12th. There will also be virtual events. The festival is the largest gathering of Maine cheese makers in the state and is a great opportunity to learn about the craft right from the makers. Festivities will include educational food demos, several food trucks, Maine beer and wine garden, other Maine artisan food vendors, a dedicated stage for live music, and the Maine Cheese Competition and Awards with the award ceremony live streamed from the music stage. The group anticipates selling over 1,000 tickets this year and are adding virtual components expected to double their reach. So this is expected to be a really big event. For more information, contact the Maine Cheese Guild at events@maincheeseguild.org. Then we've got a few items that probably the councilors would be interested in rather than citizens on the Kennebec Regional Development Authority, how to put together the capital improvement plan and the grant applications. We did get the final figures under number 12, Efficiency Maine Small Municipality Lighting Rebates, and this was quite an interesting program in which the figures changed each time we submitted information and the rebates went down, but in the end we ended up with the rebates for the energy efficiency lighting at the water department, wastewater department, and municipal building totaled $4,208. So this is money we did not have to spend. And the town's share was $12,088. And although the rebate was lowered by Efficiency Maine, we do have much better lighting in parts of the municipal building, especially the fire station, the water and the wastewater departments. The lighting will be more energy efficient, provide for a better work environment for employees, and replace what were the original fixtures in the fire station and the wastewater facilities. With the amount of staff time on this project that was consumed and the changing dynamics, it's doubtful we will participate in this program again unless the incentives were higher, or we could get funding for buildings that have not been updated. In this case, it was worthwhile because the fire station had the original lighting. It was very dark and dreary in there, and this lighting is much better. A few rooms were done in the municipal building. Here was done, so the lighting is better for people's eyes and everything. Here, the hallway was done areas were done in the police station that needed to be taken care of. We have 2 lights outside, so this did work out for us, but the original figures that they had proposed to the town were not what we ended up with. Hiring for town positions. Hiring in Maine and Nation has become very difficult the last few years, and especially now. Going to the Maine Municipal Association website, one can see dozens and dozens of pages of advertisements for open municipal positions. Our new assistant, Kathy, has been hard at work advertising in new media and locations, contacting inquiries and interviewing possible candidates. We expect to have a candidate for at least one of the open positions for the July 6, 2021 council meeting as we go through background checks. We also think we have another candidate that would not have to come in for confirmation. It's a staff in a department. Many communities are seeking code enforcement officers, police officers, highway foremen, and other public works positions, such as transfer station attendants. We will continue to interview applicants for these regular town positions. I should also note that for the first time with our recreation department, they have the summer camp series, so they will be hiring summer counselors, a lead counselor, assistant counselor, and counselors in training for these week-long programs. So under number 14, we have our onboarding contract to upgrade the computer system in the town office. So that just started. We had a training session last week. For public works activities, I've listed all the items that they've been working on. And then it finishes up with all the water sewer projects that are going on, which are many. We have put together how to deal with the bulk water sales, so that will work efficiency. We have leak detection that has worked out really well. The rehabilitation of the wells was authorized by the town council, and we are on the list of one of the 2 contractors in the state of Maine, and continue to call to see where we are on the list. The video work for the roads has been completed for a number of those roads. We have some bids for the inspection of the cleaning of the water storage facility, so that is very important. And then there's a variety of grants and everything that we have. The last item that I'll mention is the water sewer contract for operations. And Oliver Associates has provided some basic information in a draft contract. So I'll be going through that more in person and then on Zoom with Oliver Associates, and then be bringing that into your July 6th council meeting. We need to go over the specifics because Oliver is going to be taking over the personnel at the facility, using the facilities and everything, hiring other personnel, running the department. So we need to understand exactly how this will work in terms of insurance, liability, costs, and other important areas. They have 11 other towns that they run this way. Right now we're in a hybrid situation. It works, but they would prefer to go over to where they're in charge of the operation in a contractual basis. So that's what we're looking at to see if that will work for us. I will note that the assistance that we've received since Oliver took over as the licensed water operator nearly 2 years ago has been really invaluable. So this would be the next step to bring the program forward. So those are the items that I sent out to you. And then we did want to discuss Estelle Street. So I didn't present or put together a formal review because there's, the history is difficult to go through. But I did put together some information so people would understand the situation with Estelle Street. And so I'm just going to skim through a few things quickly. So over the years, we've had a number of residents that contacted the town regarding Estelle Street. This is a short road by Chinquette Street where the residents are on a gravel road that is not in good condition. And so the requests and everything started as soon as I arrived here in 2002 up to about 2010. We worked with a number of residents to try to help them to form a road association, to get bids and quotes from different contractors that could come in and help them. But basically this is a private road having been brought to town meeting and not approved for a town road. And so in the town records, we have a listing of Estelle Street, which indicates the year that the project went to town meeting. It was proposed that Estelle Street be adopted by the town meeting. This is a road that at that time, and the names are older, but connects Wright Street with Peltoma Avenue, runs parallel to Chinquette Avenue. That was brought to town meeting on March 12, 1960. There was a motion made by several individuals to have this passed over, and that was done because the road did not meet town specs at that time. The road came back to the town in the 1980s, in which Dwight Dougherty dealt with that situation, and there's a variety of letters that go back and forth, which indicated that the road did not meet town specs. So then, unfortunately, people kept purchasing property on the road and didn't realize that the road was not up to town specs and that the town could not maintain that. So when I arrived, we did a study of the road, found the letters and everything, and did the history up, and then explained it out to the citizens. But to get to the point here, in the Maine Municipal Association Guide to Municipal Roads Manual, which I ran out, and I ran this out because I'm doing some road commissioner work now, so I wanted to make sure I'm up to date on all the regulations. I haven't done that for like 7 years. But also it helps with dealing with this situation and all of the other private roads that are here in town that people asked us to adopt. And in the Maine Municipal Road Responsibility and Regulation, there's a section that indicates there'll be no private maintenance of town ways. Municipal officials are often asked whether private citizens can repair and maintain public roads at their own expense and what rights and liabilities this involves. There's no statute on this point, but case law is clear that private individuals have no right to repair and reconstruct roads. So that's no private maintenance on town roads. And then privately owned roads, which is what the Estelle Street is, the Maine Supreme Court has stated that because of constitutional limitations, public funds or equipment may not be used to maintain or plow privately owned roads. This is true even if the public is not prevented by signs or gates from using the road, because often these are just left open, with the exception of the Taylor Road. But in any case, many of these roads that are private are left open and people drive on them. The court's reasoning was that the implied consent of access is transitionary at best, and one or more of the road's owners could at any time restrict access. For example, the municipality might make substantial repairs to a private camp road open to the public, only to find the very next day that the road was closed to public access. Therefore, the court held that the proposed use of public funds to maintain a private road would represent an unconstitutional expenditure of public funds for a private purpose, therefore violating the public purpose doctrine of the Maine Constitution. So this goes on to talk about this, and it has some situations like people will ask on private roads that they pay taxes, why can't they have their roads plowed? And so the project goes on to talk about all of the different items that can take place and the questions that people can ask. And the one that we're asked several times is, why are my taxes the same? And at one point we had Jim Phillips, before he left for Florida and retired, went through all of the valuations of the properties along Estelle Street as well as some of the other private roads, and after review found that the valuations were the same as the valuations on the other roads, which were maintained by the town. And in fact, sometimes they're higher because it's viewed that they're private, so they're more secluded for people. But the properties do sell well. And so then there's different options for private roads owners to get road maintenance. And first they can arrange for private plowing and maintenance, and they can do that by informal agreement or creating a formal road association. So we've talked to the citizens on this road as well as several other roads about doing that. And even if they didn't have a formal road association, they could get a one page drafted up by an attorney that explained out, that they're joining together and each of them will pay $500 toward plowing or $500 toward grading a road. And so there's a section about emergency vehicles, and yes, if there's a house fire and the road is not plowed, the town can send down a plow before the fire truck and plow it through. You can't go back and wing it back and do all kinds of things, but you can get the vehicles in. If there's an ambulance that needs to get down because the plow didn't, they didn't have the road plowed. So yes, that can be done if there's an emergency situation. But let's say people needed their garbage picked up. You can't send the town plow down because that's not an emergency. And so there's a variety of legal problems the town can encounter if it goes down and maintains private roads. Possible loss of Tort Claims Act protections, and right now we have immunity from liability up to $400,000 for things that happen on the roads, with the exception of a few categories. One of those categories is if there's a pothole and people tell us and we ignore it and don't fix it. Once you go past 24 hours, you do not have any tort claims. You are liable if something's proven to happen, but normally you're not. I talked about antitrust liability, and this has to do with how often the town gets its bituminous mix, gravel, salt, sand, gasoline, and other things at a lower price than private sector. So that's an issue that's brought up. And so this section of the book explains, and as the town attorney has explained to us, and as I've heard in other towns, the town simply cannot go down and maintain roads that are private roads. And there's about 51 private roads here in town. I will note that we wanted to help the property owners, and they kept asking about what they would have to do to have the road accepted. And so we explained it would be pretty expensive, we thought, on that road because it has a lot of problems. So we did go out and get pricing for that and explained out the pricing is not for the town to do the project, but for them to know the cost to bring the road up to town specs. And so we suggested that they try to get the road graded, put some gravel on it, and they actually did get quotes at one time. So looking at the prices for Estelle Street, I believe that was around $218,000 to bring that up to town specs, and that was a while ago. The engineer that reviewed the project indicated this is a 1,100 long roadway in a partially built up neighborhood. The major issue on the road is the condition, depth of gravel, and the apparent lack of adequate drainage. The entire roadway should be drained by a 6-inch underdrain on one side with a carrier pipe of 12 inches to 15 inches that will act as an underdrain on the opposite side. The area surrounding the road is wet in appearance, and most likely the roadway base is also wet, and that is likely due to the way the road is built. Right now the sides of the road are higher than the road, which isn't good, and the gravel is off the road, so it's pretty rough. Such a condition will not provide for long-term stability of the road base. The right-of-way appears well delineated, as this is a newer neighborhood-style road. He indicated that engineering, to engineer this project, and this was an engineer that did not, he was not extremely detailed. He was a very inexpensive engineer. He did a good job, but it would not be an Oliver Associates job, for example, but he did well. The engineering was $5,500. The estimated construction cost was $218,788. And at that time, we had requests for other roads too. There's a private way off Cottage Street, Orchard and North Orchard Street. We have been asked to maintain those roads. We definitely were asked to maintain Chandler Street. And I think that's resolved itself because the property sold, and that has a nonprofit down there now. Huff Road. There are some road extensions off Sibley Pond. And of course the Barney Chincut Road comes up every often. So we went out and had those all reviewed and gave the information to all the people that were interested. So my recommendation is that we get some current information together, some lists of some people that grade roads, and give that to the residents so that they can have that information and use it as they wish to do so. The town also needs to find a grader, because right now the person that grades the road is on leave. And so we need to find somebody to grade our own roads, and once we find a grader, we could give that information to the residents.
Catherine, do you remember how long ago that was when they did that estimate and gave it to the residents on Stella Street?
All right,
I remember talking about it, but I don't remember how long ago it was.
That was in 2007, 2008. There were a number of estimates and items. We worked with the residents in 2002, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 10. And then it's been quiet until now.
So if that information currently was given to what it would cost, obviously it's gotta be redone because
We can update it.
it's gotta be updated because that can't possibly be correct now.
Not with the paving costs, no.
Did you say one of the streets was Arbor Street?
Orchard Street.
Orchard Street.
Yeah.
I know down back in my place down there, right off of Cottage, that's privately owned property. And way back before I bought a house down there, they had an incident where somebody roped it off and said, no, you can't come through here, but it wound up in court and they ruled against the person because that has been used as a throwaway for so many years. But the town cannot, and I've tried to explain this to the neighbors down, because they used, years ago, they just did it. And I tried to tell them that by law you can't do it anymore. You just can't do it, they won't allow you to do it. Because it's not a street. It's not one of our public streets, and we could get together and have it done, or we can just, well, if they're clean, it's just a small area, so we go and clean it ourselves.
Right.
So on Estelle Street, where's the water and sewer running on that street?
So the water and sewer, according to the town records, were put in by the contractor who built the road. So the water and sewer is hooked into the town system.
So is that
And
private?
does that run?
Which they were allowed, I guess they're allowed to do this. This has happened in other communities too, because they did hook that up well, and evidently the water and sewer, according to the records, was in good condition. So they did allow it to hook up.
So the town now owns the main that's on that street?
No, we actually had a legal opinion that we don't own the main. Yeah.
So when people on
So
that
the-
street have water and sewer issues, we're not obligated.
Correct. No, we
But
can give
they're
them-
paying water and sewer.
Right, well, that's for the use of the water, getting the water and sewer, the use of the system. Because the system is beyond just their road and their pipe, the main on their road. The system is the whole distribution center, all of the different other lines that are on town roads, the treatment plant, the wells, that's the whole
So
system.
the rules that we just adopted wouldn't apply to them? Like when we go to the curb for water and to the main for, that main isn't really their,
Yeah, there's
that's
several,
not their main.
there's several roads where the mains are hooked into the town system, but the town doesn't own the mains. So there have been issues down there, and we did get a legal opinion. We gave advice to the people on how to take care of it, and they had the items taken care of. I mean, we can give advice, that's not something that's not, we're able to help them, but we can't actually go down and do work to their main.
That seems very,
So who actually owns
Convoluted.
Estelle Street?
All right, that we tried to figure out too. A title attorney would have to be hired. The assessor, Jim Phillips, who's very good, went through the deeds, and it's not quite clear. I went through the deeds, and it's not quite clear if the public easement, if there's an easement for them, if it went with the deeds or not. It's just not clear whether they got the road, half of the road, or whether another entity still owns that. And there's been a number of entities that have owned parts of the road.
So if it's not owned by the town, it's taxable property, are we receiving taxes on that property?
Yeah, we get taxes on the actual house and the land, but not the road.
But it's still private property. Why do we not tax for that if it's private property?
Because nobody knows who owns the road.
well,
See, that's-
How long have we had that private property that we haven't received taxes on because of a glitch?
right?
Well, I would expect there's a number of private roads that we would not be able to tax. I'm not sure that towns would actually try to tax those, because we don't know who the owner is.
I don't. Well, so.
And so they
So one of
tried
the
to
things
figure it out
that's
too.
that, so I was the one that brought this up,
Yeah.
and I told the people incorrectly, I thought this was gonna be on next, 2 weeks' agenda, not tonight. But one of the people that live on that road said, well, if you guys determine that this is a private road, I'm gonna go beyond my driveway and just block it off so cars can't go through. And I'm gonna maintain this portion of the road. And because they have access from Deltoma the other way, that should be no problem. Because everybody has access to their houses, they just not gonna be able to drive by my house anymore.
He doesn't own the road though.
Yeah, if there's.
But
He doesn't own the road.
But either nobody knows who owns the road, it's a private way, he can, why couldn't he put
But I
a
think
fence right there?
if he even looked at his deed should say his lot. It probably does not include that road.
Yeah, but according to Catherine, nobody owns that road.
So
All
what's
right,
the-
Well, somebody does, we just don't know who. I mean,
You can't.
because we
Well-
can't identify the owner doesn't mean
But,
we can block off the road.
Right, but at the same point, like, he's maintaining all this road on his own dime.
Not necessarily, some of them ain't doing nothing.
Well, no, he wants to, that's it, he wants to maintain it past his driveway
Oh.
and then block it off, so what he maintains doesn't get ruined by everybody driving through all the time.
He wouldn't have the right to do that.
No, I don't know, that's what he wants to come and talk about.
Yeah, some of the other property
Because he
owners
said-
won't like that.
By law, he does have the right to do
If
that.
that gets hauled in the court, he'll lose,
Yeah, he doesn't own the road.
just so you know. Unless things have changed drastically, I think that,
Yeah, he
once
does.
that's considered a throwaway,
Well, he might, well,
in the
yeah.
court's eyes,
I mean, I
they'll
guess
make
if we
what
looked
was
at
out.
his deed, maybe he does own the road.
There's a lot of historical information in the state or background where, you know, roads have been public throughways, but they privately owned. And after so much time, like Tim had used his example, after so much time, it becomes
Your grandfather.
not necessarily public property, but public now has access.
It's
Well,
no
I mean,
different-
I see the point.
It's no different than a camp road. You can't block off a camp road in front
No,
of
I
your
know,
house.
but if there's no other access, these other, you can come the other way. You can get access both ways, you
Camp roads,
just can't go all the
some
way.
camp
through.
roads you can go two ways. You
So-
can't block it off.
I'd like to make the suggestion that we table this part of the discussion until the person in question might wanna come and be part of it.
Well, everybody wanted to come and be part of it.
Okay,
but-
so we're gonna be, so are we thinking we wanna address this at the next meeting then, in a more formal way? Or, I mean, based on the rules and regulations that Catherine informed us of tonight, it's not our road, we are not going to maintain this road.
So, well, my question, and you don't maintain the sewer on the road, or the water on the road? Okay.
The water and sewer services that they're paying for is the water coming through those pipes and the sewer going out of those pipes and the systems that support those services. It's not
Well, so-
necessarily that they're getting taxed to support the pipes that are there.
Basically, that area is more or less just like a trailer park. Trailer park, whoever owns it maintains everything on it. Pipes, water, sewer, they just have to use
Right,
it.
so if this guy's backed up over here and it backs up everybody, it's really,
He's gonna fix it.
if he wants to.
It's really a shame that they couldn't figure out a way to bring that up to town specs,
I
because in the
think
long
he'd
scheme of
want to.
things.
I realize that, but I'm just
I know.
playing devil's advocate, I mean.
No, on
it's
the other
just
valid
odd.
point, it's an interesting situation.
If,
Oh, yeah.
in the long scheme of things, if they come up with the finances to turn that into, to meet the specs, to turn that into a town road, I know we really don't wanna be out there blowing a horn saying we want extra roads, but in the long scheme of things, if that was a town maintained, or if they could come up with the funding to make it that way, the taxable property would probably be higher, and on top of that, we wouldn't have excessive headache number 5 with all this stuff, so in the long scheme of things, it'd be a win-win, if you could come up with it, if they could come up with it to make it a town maintained road, meet the specs to start with. I think in the long scheme of things, you'd spend less money on both sides.
So I don't think they necessarily want it to be a paved road either, they just want it to be smoothly passable.
Has the town ever done a adventure with the developer, saying they would kick in so much money and the developer kick in so much money to build the road, and then those residents would be paying the town portion back? Has anybody done that?
That has actually been done in other states. There may be a town that's done it in the state. It would be rare, but it's a good idea. Because then everybody shares in it and everybody works together and it can actually be done. Because road building and developing the sewer and water is very expensive.
Right.
Like an HOA, homeowners association.
Yeah. This definitely should be brought to their attention.
If they were willing to have somebody look at it and see what the adventure would cost, and see if the town was willing to do some of that with them.
So
But-
we just signed, the contract with the town engineer. He was able to, get, all the issues straightened out and all the changes he wanted to the contract that went on for quite some time. So he's doing the estimates for the capital improvement plan, on the projects he's doing. And I did ask him for an update just on the Estelle figures and told him what year they were and that I gave him the chart and everything. I mean, we could actually have somebody, like that company or somebody else go down and look at that. But I think let's get the estimate updated first. I did make calls to several companies because Timmy and I are trying to find somebody to grade the town roads, because they've tried to teach the other employees, but the grader is very hard to use, and what has happened in the condition of the road is, they said that there was like hundreds of rocks out there they had to pick up. So there's a way to do the grading, and you don't want to create a situation that will throw rocks up or hurt somebody or damage the road. So it's better, at least until we get somebody trained on the grader, that we hire another company. So once we get a company, we can tell the residents about, this company and find out the cost for them and everything.
Well, on the road aspect, a little different. The developer that's building the road there up on Layton Street, is he building that all to town specs? Is somebody inspecting that to make sure it's built?
All right, we talked to him, that developer wants to build the road to town specs, but not have it approved by the town. And we told him, he had to, anyway, have it inspected at certain stages, like with your subgrade, and then there's several, like 6 places that you have to have inspections. And so we told him what that was, gave him the, agreements and everything, the ordinance. So
I'd like to reiterate what Heather had mentioned, either tabling or bringing it up at the next meeting, have other people have a chance to talk about this. I think this is a topic that we can go on and on and on.
Oh, yeah, it's a complicated
It's
one.
just like Sam. So let's do this. Let's get the updated numbers, because then we would have something an actual number to talk about. And I don't know if that would be for the next meeting or maybe 2 meetings away, depending on what the engineer has for
It
time.
depends on, his time schedule is really
Okay.
tight.
And that way we can, well inform everybody that would be interested either on the street or not on the street to have part of that discussion. But, listening to what people say, it sounds like we all want to be able to help these residents, but at the same time, right now our hands are tied because the statutes prevent us from doing that. But we do have information that we can give them, and we do have ways that we can help them kind of help themselves. And that if they wanted to bring that road up to specs, that the town might be interested in adopting that road. But it has to be like a worthwhile road in order for us to do that. Otherwise, we're just taking on another problem that we don't need more problem roads.
So we'll also get, once we find a grader, we could ask the company to go down and look at that road and give an estimate for the citizens on what that would cost.
It sounds like it needs more than just grading though.
It
It
needs
sounds like
gravel
it
brought in
needs like
first.
a lot of work on it before it even gets graded.
Yeah, before it gets graded, it needs gravel,
Right.
because right now the gravel is off the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that sound like a plan, Jason, to get those numbers and then be able to have good, productive conversations instead of just circling and circling?
So there are 51 other private roads out there. We've been contacted to take over 11 that I know about.
Okay. Well, let's just take one at a time. All right. Did you have anything else?
I did not, no.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's move on to new business. Resolution 21-62. What's the one we have? we have a little half sheet
Would you look for a motion without the reading?
of.
Yes, I'm gonna read that.
Okay.
Resolution 21-62, resolve that the town council accept the proposal of blank from blank in an amount to not exceed blank in response to the request for proposals for the 2021 road paving program issued May 26, 2021, and authorize the town manager to execute the town's standard services contract, and further to authorize an additional blank from the town's capital improvement funds for in-town paving.
I move we adopt resolution 2162 as noted. Resolve the town council accept the proposal of Hopkins paving from Herman, Maine in the amount not to exceed $120,886. Let me start again. $120,886.80 in response to requests for proposals for the 2021 road paving program issued May 26, 2021, authorize town manager to execute the town's standard services contract, and further authorize an additional $1,412 from the town's capital improvement funds for in-town paving.
Where did you get that?
What's that?
Where did you get 112,000?
Yeah.
120.
Now, the last part, I
It
didn't.
should be 35,000. The
Give me the
additional,
little one.
the last line.
Additional 30.
The price is so
Oh, the one
good.
small page I didn't read?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
the one.
I was trying to
I
say.
thought that's
page.
what
Okay,
reading.
all right. Let me.
You had all the numbers right up till 35,000.
Okay, let me change the last price of 1,412 to 35,000.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
Now we are all.
I'm a little rusty.
I'm not rusty, I'm an antique.
I'm sorry, Mike, I saw you holding it, I thought you were holding it from the other one.
No, that's okay, thanks.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, councilors, discussion?
Has Hopkins done paving for the town before?
Yes, they have. A few years ago, they did a sidewalk, they did a very good job. And then they are the contractor for the Puritan plant. And as you will recall, we had put the roads up to bid, including SAS Drive. And then we found out that the federal government wanted Chimbrow to complete that project as soon as possible. And they wanted to do SAS Drive at the same time, so there wouldn't be any butt joints and it would be a smooth transition, which would lead to less cracking and less problems. And so they gave us a price for that road, which was $50,000. It was a very reasonable price. We changed our bid specs and took that road out. The road is in very good condition. So the references are very good. They submitted all the appropriate bid forms. The math is correct. The bid bond was included as required. We have the insurance certificate. We've already received a test result for the pavement that will be used. Now, I do realize that the pavement cost is $70.50 lower than the others. Some of them were ridiculous, $125 a ton, unless you're putting, pavement down by hand and everything. So I believe their work will be good, but I think that, on any pavers now, we should do some testing out in the site too, which we can do. We have an employee on the Public Works crew who has worked for a paver, is used to getting the slips, measuring the pavement, making sure things are hot enough, and watching the overall operation, so that will be good for this. And in addition, because the pricing is so good and the condition of the roads requires that we have as much paving as possible, and next year we'll have a major paving budget because we, for once after all these difficult years of low valuation, we will have a much higher valuation of the town, which will bring in tax dollars. So we'll be doing some paving, a lot more paving next year. But we do have $35,000 available after we go through all of the incumbent funds for the town's capital improvement bonds that were issued for 2 years. And so, looking at the projects that are left, there's a few, that replacement trailer, the generator for the municipal building that the fire chief's working on, and then the funds to repair Snakewood Road. We do have approximately $35,000 left, and that is because some of the items that were listed out by one of the former employees I found aren't necessary. The items were done for a lower cost, and so we do have funding that will be available. So while the pricing is very low, we should take advantage of it. Who knows what will happen next year?
So what roads are you looking to get done with that additional 35,000?
Yes, for the 35,000, we would want to complete roads which we would be saving the road because we're getting it done. Or it's a road that can be done easily, that does not require a grinding, which is an additional cost. So we just want to frankly pave the roads through the shim and overlay. And so looking at the roads and looking at the fact that we'd have to go out and look at sewer systems and everything, there's a number of roads that were paved from the USDA $3.1 million that we received with the huge grant and then the loan with that. And so I talked to Annalise from all of our associates, and she indicated that no, we would not have to go out and review those roads and run the video on them because they're very new sewer lines. All of the lines to the houses were done under the federal monies legally, and so those should be in good operation. So most of those were state roads. However, Chincat Street did not get its pavement as it should have, because then once we did all that work, we then ran into the lean years and had to allocate the money very severely, and the town didn't want to get loans, which is totally understandable after getting a massive loan for the sewer and water and everything. So that road has catch basins that would have to be dealt with. There would be sewer mains that would have to be done, but it's starting to deteriorate. So that road, along with, and I wasn't sure, I thought Franklin Street also had sewer put on it in the section down further, but I would have to double check. I didn't see it in the list, but I thought that one had been done too. So those are two that could be done. And remarkably, when I put them on the paving plan and did the calculations, it came out to $35,074. But if Franklin Street has an issue because of the sewer system, and we need to look at the first part of the road, which is severely deteriorated, we can find another road in the in-town area that can be done.
I
But
have
we
some
want roads,
suggestions.
we want roads that don't have problems on them. Yeah.
I have some suggestions
Would
from,
you like to go up to School Street?
no, of course, from a resident that had contacted me.
Sure.
For the Arbor Street, I believe it's called,
Yeah,
and up in the
Arbor
Berkshire
Terrace.
Terrace area. I don't remember the name of the road right now, and I don't remember because it was in my email from several weeks ago.
No, that's fine.
But I
Those are
could forward
roads-
that to you,
Yeah.
because it's a terrible area.
It is.
That's
Mhm.
one of the higher.
Definitely. The
tax
road
areas.
is
You been on Sibley Pond Road lately?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez,
I know there's
That's
lots
a little
of,
self-serving there, wasn't
Wait
it?
until spring.
You know, your road's worse.
Oh.
Yeah, your words were.
but I could send you those roads that the resident had.
My road has no sewer or water on it, neither does Crawford.
Yeah, so we need roads that we can actually just pave and not have to grind and have to deal with a lot of issues on. So they have to be in condition that they're gonna be lost or they're getting too cracked, so we're gonna start having the water get into all the cracks and everything.
I think you'll find this road is in that condition.
Yeah, so, on the list of roads that has to be completely redone, that have water problems and likely sewer problems too, is Forest Park, which we're getting an estimate on to completely rebuild, and I think that the pricing will shock you, but those are the ones that I can't do myself, the engineer is doing. So Arbor Terrace is up there, as well as Berkshire Drive, the whole area,
Okay.
which you would probably divide into a several-year project. So that one is one we're getting engineering estimates on, so we wouldn't want to just try to put a shim and overlay on it.
I didn't think Arbor was too bad, but up in I can't remember that other road that goes up around.
Oh, the one that goes around is
Yeah,
bad.
that is terrible.
Hamilton.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Hamilton Terrace.
yeah, it is. So those would be completely they have to be rebuilt. Putting pavement on them it'll be cracked in 2 years. Yeah, Michael?
I just want to make a quick statement or a question actually, and I don't want to belabor this because we're getting a little bit off topic here. I see that paving program issued May 26, 2021. Is that the 1 year, 5 year, 10-year plan we had talked about with the highway department 3-4 years ago? What I'm looking at, and I don't travel an awful lot, and for one very strong purpose. I mean, the road that Heather lives on is ridiculous. It's been that way for a very long time. Is there a program
do we have an idea on these roads when they plan on being done? We should have a 15, 20-year plan for every road in town. Does one exist?
So we did have a plan, and then it was requested that the Public Works foreman put together an updated plan because the costs had increased. But yes, we did have a plan. I have a copy of all the plans and everything. So Steve was working on a plan, and he left to go.
Can you share that? Please.
Oh, sure.
I think we all like to see
Yeah,
that.
it's in
Okay.
the budget book that you'll get.
Okay, thank you. See, I don't want to belabor it because we're getting a little off
I
topic
think
here.
it's
Thank you
on-
for that.
Is it on our next finance committee meeting? We're gonna go over the CIP.
Yes, the finance
so
committee
that way-
meeting next week is gonna go over the current plan. And then Steve was to put together a new road plan, and he was working on that, and that's why we had the delay. And he was fixing up the culverts and the ditches and everything, and gonna present that plan, but he left to go to work for the paving company. And so I said that I would put together a plan for the July Finance Committee meeting, but I'll be doing just a certain period of time. I can't put together a 20-year plan here in a month. That's a major project.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. However, we should have had a 20-year plan in place a long time ago. And we had talked about it at least 3 years ago, and before that, it's still not done.
Well, actually, we did have it, and we do have it, but the council wants to update it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you
Well, there
just
is
said you
like
had a
that.
20-year plan.
There is, let's see, there was, 2 years ago, we came up with a list of roads, and then we picked 3 spots to do over the last 2 years.
Yes.
And then this year, we decided not to do, there was no appetite to do a third loan.
Right.
So we didn't do any major paving this year, but like
Right.
Webb Road was on that, Crawford Road was on that. I wanna say, maybe Beans Corner was on it?
Yes, that needs to be.
And the other
Hopefully
one-
Powers.
Howard
Yeah.
Road, those 4 roads I remember were on it, cause they're all really terrible condition.
Dangerous.
And then Higgins Road was on it, and Higgins Road got done last year. Well, most of it, part of it.
Right.
The worst part of it got done last
That's
year.
why I drive Higgins Road, not the other.
Yeah, yeah, so, I mean, there is a plan in place, it's not as extensive as it could be, it was basically like, what are the worst roads to tackle first, and how do we, they identified the worst roads, and then we figured out how we're gonna pave,
Yep, okay.
so.
All right, thank you. Didn't mean to throw us off track there.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's okay. So what we're gonna do is take, all the plans that we have and update them, and then in July, I'll have an updated schedule and everything. But it will not be a 20-year plan, it'll be just for the 5 years.
It's a starting point. Any other discussion on resolution 21-62? Right, with Hopkins paving?
So are we gonna decide what that, at some point, are we gonna decide what the 35 grand's going to? What road, who picks that?
All right, so, I figured out the cost for Chinquette Street. I'm gonna meet with the, low bidder, if he's accepted tonight, and see what he thinks about that road and adding it on. He said that he was very interested in adding on any of the roads that we had. He's also gonna go out and look at, the Snake Brook Road for those sections of the road that had been identified as having an issue from the 2019 paving. By Steve Vance. He had found those areas, and then we found a few more. So he said he would go out and look at that too. And then we need to find another road that will add up to the 35,000. So I have to check the status of Franklin Street and go down through. I thought part of it had been dug out for the sewer, and it looks like it has. I just have to find the documents, but not the entire road.
Summer Street down. has
Yes,
been.
that's what I thought.
Summer Street to the main.
So have we identified who's gonna make that decision on what roads to do?
All right, so I'm telling you now the ones that I think that would be good to do. But if we find out there's an issue with the sewer there, we wouldn't do those. So this is the recommendation. We want roads that we can easily pave, that can be protected. And it's certainly not because we have councilors in the room, but because when you take all of the roads that were done from the USDA $3.1 million that we got, almost all the state roads, very few were town roads. And so Chinquette Street You know, that's when we ran out of money and the economy went through, and the council, rightly so, didn't want to have any more debt because we had so much at that time, and the economy was bad, and people were struggling. So we didn't give them more loans to take care of the paving on the road. So Chinquette is one, and part of Franklin Street would be one.
So there's a recommendation.
Yes.
Any other questions?
I mean, this is a unique opportunity here. Generally, it does not happen.
Yeah, I just think that there's other roads that are obviously worse that aren't gonna be needing to be reclaimed and all that. I think there's other roads. I mean, I live on Chinquette Street, it's not that bad. I mean, it's not great, but
It's starting to come apart.
yeah, I mean, I guess,
Yeah.
I like, yeah,
Did you
okay.
have a suggestion? I mean, we could try to run the sewer really quickly and make sure and see if the sewer's okay and do a different one and have a.
No, I don't have a suggestion, I was just thinking there's a lot of roads that,
Oh, you could do
Could
all
benefit
of them. We could do all of them, yeah.
yeah.
But we would be cleaning up the roads that were done from the USDA program, which we had meant to go back, but then the economy went through and people weren't comfortable because we had so much debt at that time getting more, so then we didn't do paving for a few years. And then we got behind. If I find another road, I can email you and let you know. But I think that this is a good price. The pavement seems to be okay. The contract is very easy to work with. Chimbro loves them. They did really good work. I think it's an opportunity that we need to take advantage of.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so let's move on this, resolution 21-62. All those in favor of the resolution with Hopkins Paving LLC from Herman, not to exceed $120,886.80, with $35,000 from the town's capital improvement funds for in-town paving. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Next resolution, 21-63.
Resolution 2163, resolved that the town council set the rate of interest to be charged on delinquent taxes for 2021 at 6%, and the due date for payment of taxes at the end of the business day on Friday, October 15, 2021.
I move we adopt resolution 21-63 as written.
No second.
Thank you. Not much discussion here, I'm thinking. It's kind of in line with state regulations,
Housekeeping items.
housekeeping items.
And it's wicked dry.
Oh, this is so good. Any discussion, councilors? Not hearing any. All those in favor of resolution 21-63, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Resolution 21-64.
Resolution 21-64, resolved that the town council set the rate of interest for overpayments for 2021 at 2% to conform with 36 MRSA, section 506-A.
I move we adopt resolution 21-64 as written.
No second.
Any discussion, councilors? Another housekeeping item? Not hearing any. We'll vote on resolution 21-64. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that passes. Resolution 21-65.
Resolution 21-65, resolved that the town council authorize the tax collector/treasurer to accept prepayment or decline prepayment of taxes not yet committed or received prior to the due date and pay no interest thereon in accordance with 36 MRSA, section 506.
I move we adopt resolution 21-65 as written.
No second.
Jason, thank you.
Jason has it.
Yep, go. He can have it.
Under housekeeping item, any discussion, councilors? All those in favor of resolution 21-65, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed, that will pass. Discussion items, there's none listed. Reports, we do not have any audience members this evening on Zoom or in the audience, so we'll go right to counselors. Jason, we'll start with you and go around the room.
Just real quick, I know we have that finance committee meeting coming up next week. I know the last time that we had that, the chief of police gave a bunch of ideas for ways to recruit and get new officers and different things like that. Some were a financial impact, some were not. I thought that maybe we could revisit those ideas. I think he and Catherine were gonna have a meeting, or should have maybe had a meeting to discuss some of those things and figure out the things that we could do, couldn't do with all the different union stuff and whatnot. But if we could discuss that, I think that would be a good thing.
We did have a meeting, and then the police labor negotiations committee met and had a lengthy meeting going over all of the items, because they would be the committee that would work with the union representatives and everything. And so that meeting took place, and there's a write-up on that meeting that they're reviewing to let me know that if that can be released to the police chief and if it needs correction or anything.
Okay. I mean, hopefully some of those ideas maybe are all ideas related back to the union. Do they all have a say in certain things? Because some of his ideas didn't really seem like it would be related to
I think
union
almost
type
everything, there could be something that isn't,
Yeah, okay.
that we can take
No, that's
out.
fine, we can
Yeah.
review that, that's good.
Yeah.
Most of them have, if it has to do with pay,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
monetary, then it affects the union contract, so
Right.
any of those items would need to go back through the union negotiations again.
Right.
There was a couple things that didn't, and then some things that if we implemented them, they would have affected all the employees, not just the, police department employees. And that became very, very expensive when you went from like.
But there was one that was like the 20-mile radius thing.
That's actually in the negotiations in the contract. It's,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's
Okay.
actually a union contract thing.
So you wouldn't think that would be, but.
You wouldn't think so, but it is. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things you wouldn't think would be in it, but they
Okay.
are.
Alright.
And that was actually one of the things that we recommended. That
Yeah.
was a recommendation.
It's actually all working conditions that are
Sure.
under the
Yeah.
union contract.
Just to kind of tie it all back together
Yeah.
or get a update on it, that would be
And
good.
it will, like, after it goes through the union and then looked at by the attorney and stuff, it'll probably have to come back to the finance committee
Yeah.
for a recommendation to the council anyway, so it will come
Yeah,
back through.
okay.
It just might take a little bit more time, to do that. I think it's that last week, when we last Thursday,
Yep.
so it'll take a
Okay,
little more time.
yeah, that's fine, thanks.
Do you have anything else?
No, I'm good.
Tim?
I don't have much. Congratulations to Mike Chincat, welcome back.
Thank you, Tim.
I'm glad to see that we have no business on Main Street. That's very good. I wanted to thank the town employees and Catherine and everybody that's worked hard for the town. It's been challenging because of absences and you know, the special election and all that stuff. And, you know, a lot of effort is put in by everybody jumped in front. So I'm very glad for that reason. It's a pain in the butt to see all this construction work, but what it means is that things are moving. And I have to remember that when I'm sitting there waiting for lights, because unlike everybody else, you know, my patience level is about that deep. But all this construction work in town, basically it means things are moving ahead. You know, we need progress. You don't see, when we're having a major recession, you don't see that stuff. So, you know, that's good. Interesting to see when Alvin Associates looks at those tanks, when they talk about the possibility of the third well down the road. That'll be an interesting scenario, because I think down the road we're gonna need more water pressure, not less, if everything keeps moving in the direction it's
Oh,
moving.
definitely.
And anyway, the town looks good, the parks look really good. Cheese Festival in September, the parks will be in top shape for that. And pages and pages of help wanted ads. I mean, my goodness gracious, even the Rolling Thunder has 3 or 4 pages. And I've never seen that before, so that means that things are moving ahead, so good, and thank you, and I have nothing else.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Pete?
I have the report this evening.
I'm all set.
Mike, you're up.
I will always say something if you give me the podium.
The two things that you and I have never been called before, Councilor Chiquette, skinny and quiet.
Oh, wallflowers. I appreciate the folks who voted last week, middle of the week. It's never convenient, it's never fun, it's never easy, and it's always afterthought and after the big issue with having the door locked. It was quite a ruckus about that, but I appreciate the town stepping up and doing the right thing with that. So I'm looking forward to get back into this, and I feel like I have more to offer for the town. So thank you, Tim, for the welcome, and thank you everyone that voted, not just for me, but voted. I had a couple thoughts I wanted to put down. It'll take me just 2 minutes to read through, so just bear with me. I just want to make sure I get all set. Pittsfield's been blessed with not one but two major manufacturing facilities that have rehabilitated two properties, both empty for a number of years. These facilities now employ hundreds of people who come here every day and support our town by way of food, gas, and merchandise. This in turn maintains the tax base, no, it actually strengthens the tax base. Not only has this been a boon to the town, but this has happened during a worldwide pandemic when businesses were closing and people were worried about paying mortgages or rents, feeding their children, and staying at home because the schools were closed. Puritan, being in Pittsfield along with many other companies that have been here for years, is a peak of what Pittsfield used to be and can be again. This is a great step to make Pittsfield great again. When I stepped down as mayor and council at large in 2018, I challenged the council at that time to dare to ask the tough and uncomfortable questions and to make the tough and uncomfortable decisions. I will challenge the council to join me to do so again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Alright, I only have a couple things. Obviously, Cheese Festival is coming back to Pittsfield. We're really excited to be coming back again to the Maine Cheese Guild. We are looking for sponsors. If you have a business and you'd like to participate in a sponsorship for the Cheese Festival and helping us put that on and get your name plastered all over our website and signs and everything, you can contact me or the events at Cheese Guild, mainecheeseguild.org email. We're also looking for vendors. We have a few juried vendor spots that are available, and I can also provide information for that for people. I've been hearing from a lot of residents that are really excited to be coming, as well as the cheese makers themselves. They really loved coming in 2019. They loved the park, thought it was a beautiful spot, and they're excited to come back again. So.
That's fantastic.
Great. We also have Open Farm Days coming up. This is a statewide celebration of agriculture from the Department of Agriculture and the Get Real Maine campaign. Our farm, Dalford Farm, is going to be hosting an Open Farm Day on July 25th. It's a Sunday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. We'll have farm tours, hay wagon rides. We'll have the cheese shop will be open, al fresco outside, so there's room enough for more than 2 people. We'll be doing cheese sampling, and the fire department's going to be bringing their sausage cart to provide refreshments and concessions. We'll also have live music and a mini farmers market, so we hope you can join us. Just want to say that Tim mentioned how beautiful the parks are looking. The garden club's done a wonderful job this year, keeping everything green and beautiful and bright. It's not easy to keep all those flowers watered, especially when we're not having much natural rainfall. And so I commend them on their work for doing that and their dedication to do that. So thank you to everyone that's involved in that. And with all the challenges in the labor market, I think our town office has been very successful in implementing all the projects that have been thrown their way, from having to do the extra planning with the paving programs to all of the planning board items that have come through that the new Kathy is just just thrown into the fire with things and figuring all these things out. And I think that the office is certainly humming along, and they've had a lot of extra work thrown at them in addition to the regular things that need to be done, and are doing a good job keeping up with everything. With that, I will look for a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody opposed to adjourning? Okay. All right, we are adjourned. Have a good evening, everyone.
So what's the story with the public? Can we open these to the public again, or is it,
The building is open to the public.
so people can come?
They can come.
Okay.
Yep, we are still under the emergency orders until the end of the month, and my understanding is that the emergency orders will be rescinded. I'm
Oh,
not sure.
I thought it was, well, they extended to the end of the month.
It's through the end of the month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it
think
was
it was
soon.
the end today, but they extended it to the end.
Oh,
of the
sure.